This is Blythe Baines, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Wowzers, what you are about to hear next is the long-awaited interview with Desert Fawkes and Fawkesy Lady from the Awesome Sauce Radio podcast and also Cannabis Conundrum podcast. April 1st, some would call it April Fool's Day. I would say we are fools. We are, I can't speak for them, but I feel like, the fool is the one who's making fun of themselves, becoming a symbolic representation of the imagination, the realms of imagination, etc., and so forth. So, April 1st, April Fool's Day, also Philly Ocean's birthday, when Yächtley Crëw was at the Marquee Theatre in Arizona. So, I have the 2 other episodes with them fully recorded. Those are up on, welcome to Inspirado Projecto, by the way, Inspirado Projecto podcast. You will hear those other 2 interviews with them. One that took place before the show, one that took place right after the show, and then this third piece was actually outside of our hotel. So we just sat out there and talked and drank some brewskis, and so this is one of those gonzo journalism kinds of interviews where you start hearing me get a little bit schnockered. This reminds me, not fully, but kind of reminds me of the 311 Cruise interviews that I did when I was on there. You can really hear me. Not only 3 sheets to the wind, probably 8 sheets to the wind. Woo! So, you'll hear me go, a little wobbly. But that's what's so fun about this stuff. You can't apologize for what you did. You just have to go, this is what it is. And if you learn from it, you learn from it. Then you make alterations in the future. However, it's important to see these things and to learn from them. So, you will hear that. Actually, also I want to say thank you to Blythe Baines, singer-songwriter extraordinaire, for opening up this show. And thank you, Rob Broski from Twin Peaks, for closing out this show. And thank you so much, Henry D. Horace, for the fun fact, which we're about to hear next, before we dive into this interview with Fawkesy Lady and Desert Fawkes. Thank you for listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Here's your fun fact. All kittens are born with blue eyes. They begin to change color at about 2 weeks after their eyes open. Stay tuned to Inspirado Projecto for more fun facts.
One more little idea, little observation before I continue with the message talk. Kurt, on the Anchor platform, when I click your link and try to listen to your show, it's stopping at about 30 seconds, and I have to push play. I have to keep pushing play to make your show flow correctly when I'm listening within the Anchor platform. I don't know what the heck that is all about. But may I recommend listeners out here, let Kurt know somehow, whether a message in, or maybe you want to respond on one of his posts on Twitter or Instagram. Say, hey, Kurt, I listened to your show. I'm listening through Podbean, through CastBox, through so many different platforms. Apple Podcast is one of my favorites because you can leave reviews there.
Thank you, Maria Humphreys from Strong Body, Strong Soul podcast. Thank you so much for telling me that while you're trying to listen to the podcast, you're having these kinds of issues. If you are listening to this and this is happening too, please let me know. If you go to anchor.fm/Inspirado Projecto, there is a button on there, voice message. You can leave a voice message for me. and let me know about this. And like Maria said, feel free to leave any sort of message. If something here gets you dreaming or thinking or moving forward in some fashion, I would love it if you left a review on any of those apps, and or even left a message for me. You can also call the hotline voicemail 561-203-9179. Listen to Maria Humphreys, Strong Body, Strong Soul. She has meditations. She helps you with life choices. She's a life coach. She is a fisher of great ideas. She's all over YouTube, all of the social networks. A wonderful interviewer. And I think you'd enjoy her stuff. For now, just got to say, before we get to this podcast episode featuring Desert Fawkes and Fawkesy Lady from Awesome Sauce Radio Podcast and Cannabis Conundrum Podcast, I want to include this message here with Man Behind the Machine. He's always calling in with such great stuff, and just stick around. He's got a good question here, and I have a feeling you might relate to it. Thanks for listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Hey, Inspirado, it's me, man. Walk like an Egyptian, walk like a man behind the machine. Following up on my last voicemail, basically, let me clarify this. Yes, responding to your voicemail. The 80s you're listening on streaming services like Amazon, Spotify is not the 80s we grew up with. They're remixing it, but they make it sound like it's the old version. It's not. Okay? Gabish? They're mixing it probably because they don't have rights to it, so they had to re-record the albums. It's been done by other artists that have to re-record albums. And a non-80s artist that recently did it was Taylor Swift. Had to re-record her famous album, and I'm not a big Swift fan, but this is an example of Tears for Fears. They were playing it on the streaming service the other day, and I said, this is not them.
By the way, first of all, thank you so much, Henry D. Horse, for such an extraordinary fun fact. What about you? Do you have a cat at home? Do you have a dog at home? Do you notice this with the cats, that they have mostly blue eyes, and at some point it switches over to brown? I need to investigate this further. There's a dog that lived next door to me growing up. The dog's name was Shadow. I think it was a sheepdog. I don't know, longish hair. Calico, kind of calico in nature, which was interesting because we had a cat named Peace who was calico in nature. This dog, Shadow, had one brown eye and one blue eye. So every time I think about that idea of eyes turning, blue eyes turning brown, I always think of Shadow the dog. So, Man Behind the Machine, you know what? It's so interesting because I had this conversation with a lot of people lately, asking them, hey, if you listen to iTunes or Spotify, do you notice it's a different song than what you're used to hearing? In other words, it makes me really yearn for going back and listening to those original cassette tapes. Then it got me, there's a slight piece of worry that popped out of my brain, thinking, oh my gosh, are all of the new versions that are recorded on the cassettes, and cut onto the albums, are those the new versions, or are they the original versions? I mean, I hope this is not washing out those original ones. I mean, it's going to make it that much more valuable, right? Snap, crackle, pops, all those little giblets. I was very surprised. There's something I listened to on iTunes the other day that sounded just like the album, and I was like, whoa, I silently celebrated. I thought, man, this is great. But there are times when we're in the land yacht, and Yächtley Crëw, we're driving, and there's some song that I'm listening to on the radio, and it's not the same version that I was used to. I think to myself, this is unnecessary for you guys to be playing this on here with this funky new drum beat. I mean, I appreciate it, but what about the good old days? Let's reminisce. Let's go down the trail. Let's listen to that old version. I'm so glad you said that. I'd been going crazy. What about you who are listening? Has this happened to you? Have you listened to Pandora or Spotify or iTunes, something like that? Maybe even just a radio station, and you go, wait a second. That's not the same. It's not the same song. I do not remember hearing that version growing up. Something going on. That's what happened to the Monkees. I was listening to the Monkees albums on iTunes, and I don't remember hearing those versions. It seems so odd to me that they can just be okay with sneaking in an imposter, and then we are left questioning our own sanity. You're stuck there going, wait. There was like a brrrr during this part. I remember, because my friends and I used to always go brrrr at that part of the song. All of a sudden, that part is not there. You think if you're gonna record those original songs, like at least put those little things in there that give it that signature sound, that hooks the people. That, you know, they call me mellow yellow. Brrr. They call me mellow yellow. Brrr. Oh no, boom, boom. The sunshine so good, so good. Anyway, get ready for the episode. Fawkesy lady, Desert Fox, thank you for listening.
Samsung has a great voice recorder that you can get on any Android. You can get the Samsung voice recorder. I don't know about iPhone, but
Oh, that's right.
the Samsung voice recorder
iPhone, I'm
records
sure,
in
has something
stereo.
comparable.
So when you do from Anchor, you get it in mono. So you got like one speaker working. And when you do it through the other one, then you get both speakers working. So it's like
Wait
surround
a second.
sound.
Are you saying if someone listens to this with headphones right now, since it's being recorded through Anchor, it'll only come out through one headphone?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
There's other frequencies that the other headphone will pick up, but it's not going to be as fluent as
I didn't know
if
that.
you were to record in stereo, because it's going to go through both
Oh, man.
simultaneously, and they'll hear all of the effects. They won't just hear part of the effects. It's
Wow.
ridiculous.
Anytime I download something from Anchor,
That's why we
I
do
have
Lexus,
I have to
because
go
it's
and
in
convert
stereo.
it to stereo, so that it'll change.
Well, you have
channels.
to convert it to stereo.
Yeah.
But if you use Lexus, it's already in stereo.
I
So all you
think
have to do is
at first-
upload it.
Oh, so wait, so you can actually record it. So you record it on Lexus, but then you can also edit within
You
Lexus.
can record
You
on
can
Lexus, but we
record
don't
on Lexus.
normally.
I don't normally record it. It's really hot.
Okay, so
It's really hot. Like the mic is really hot.
Oh.
I don't like that mic.
it's just a Samsung voice recorder. It's basic. It's
I-
free.
I'm pretty
It's
sure
in
he
stereo.
can. He can't get that on his iPhone.
Well,
Probably
'cause,
not
you
on
know,
iPhone.
when I was out
but
on-
there's got to be a compatible source on
HiQ.
iPhone.
HiQ.
IQ?
HiQ.
I'll
I
look
don't
for
know
that
shit
one.
about iPhone. He used to work for Apple, so he knows all that crap.
There have been times where I've recorded, just on the voice, that voice memo one that I was showing you, when I didn't have any reception in here. And so I've got all these voice memos that, with the interviews with people, like when I went out to Giant Rock in Joshua Tree, camping out there with my friends and just like walking through the desert and interviewing them and stuff. So I've got all these interviews on there that it's like I've got so much backup like stuff that I'm just like but it's on the voice
I
recorder
get
on my
it.
phone, so that means that I got to send it here. But now I bet you I could import it right into the Lexus thing. That
But
would make
being
everything
Apple,
so good.
it might be recording stuff in stereo. I don't know shit about Apple.
Oh.
He does.
You could speed
I
it up.
don't
you
do
could slow
Apple.
down. No, Lexus is
I'm an
absolutely.
Android fiend.
Lexus will work. I do know iPhone users that I have turned on to Lexus and they both use it.
Oh, Oh, good.
Successfully. Haiku, I believe, I'm about 75% sure is available for iPhone. But I'm sure the iPhone has.
As advanced as iPhone. Oh, what the hell
all the shit that
happened?
I know about iPhone, I've never really investigated what the voice
But you
recorder
work
sounds
for
like.
Apple.
I
mean, yeah, you don't know what the voice recorder
I did
sounds
tech
like.
support for Apple.
But you do.
I worked for Apple Care.
You do know a lot more about Apple products than most people.
I
So
do.
you do kind of know
But that
by
was-
just taking phone calls what
That was
works
never
and
a
what
problem
don't.
anybody had, so I never had to investigate it.
I love it.
I love
Because
kinds
it's
of
Apple.
weird
Crazy. They're the
Somehow
holy
that
grail.
one thing just went went right past it. Like nobody, there was never ever something that went his direction.
It's
I love it.
Apple.
It's
It's
like
the holy
this
grail.
is
There was
the one
never a
time where
problem.
someone's.
People are like, I downloaded
Incredible.
this music, and now I have this new iPhone, and
Yeah.
what's my passphrase? And I'm like, that's some shit that only you know. Sorry to tell you, but
Can't help you.
they got the two-factor authentication. If you know it, know that above anything else.
And you know it.
I mean-
know that.
Don't ever forget that shit, and don't ever add a passphrase or a key phrase or whatever.
Keep it simple, people.
I've had so many conversations, and if you fucking get a gift card,
Yeah, what happens then?
Oh, don't get it.
have the person there with you.
Don't get
Why?
an
What
Apple
happens?
card. People in
Oh
other
no!
countries.
What happens?
People in other countries.
This sounds like a horror story.
Oh my god!
It
I'm
is.
taking so
People in other
many
countries,
calls.
it'll take them 5 minutes to hijack your card, and when you try to use it, it'll be
no.
empty.
I think that there's a database
Yeah.
that exists where when you buy
thing.
an Apple gift card,
Somebody gets
it
that
shows up
passcode.
on some database that nefarious people have access to. And I think within
Someone
and it's
figured
usually
it out.
about
He had so many phone
12
calls
to
about that
15
shit.
minutes.
That-
If you can do it,
As soon
if
as
you
you
can,
buy that
as
card,
soon as
get
you
it
buy that
activated,
card,
someone
get it
steal
into
your
the
money.
hands of the person who needs it.
Yep. They're gone. It's gone. The money's gone. The people
I-
that paid out all that money for someone in their country to go buy a fucking TV or gas.
That
I know,
seems to be
I
something
mean-
that would be out there and a
and
lot
well,
more
I've-
accessible to hear that
And I've
information. That would be
seen,
very
and
important for people to hear.
I mean,
Apple's-
and they tell you don't buy a gift card for payment. You know, don't buy a gift card for anything other than a gift.
Because
and
someone
all
might
these
take
old
that
people,
money.
and it's usually like weird shit. Like APS told me I
Sad.
needed to buy the power
Sad.
company told me I needed to pay him. FedEx told me I needed to pay
They're
him.
not gonna-
FedEx is not going to ask you
None
for a
of
gift
them.
card, lady. Like,
the power
At some
company
point-
won't either.
right?
I'm just saying.
And at some point you have
They
to
get
go.
these people that don't know anything about electronics or how things work today on electronics, and,
Well,
and they take advantage of them.
Well, this is quite interesting because this actually relates back earlier to something you were talking about before, which was about the mass consciousness and how
Yeah.
you know that stuff. So, if what I'm curious about is like, okay, so this kind of information that we're talking about right now, that we wish those old people and all those people are getting taken advantage of, just already know. Since this is known, why don't they know that?
Because we've grown up in an age where we were gradually introduced to it. By the time they were growing up, I mean, that shit was not around.
Yes, there's
Now
that
that
aspect, but
they're
the
out of-
consciousness aspect.
Well-
But that still doesn't give
The-
them really everything that they need to know
I-
to navigate a life that they've never been introduced
I have
to.
an off the wall.
There's
answer.
so much other stuff that's involved, and I mean, common sense will take you so far. But computers are very intricate, and they don't respond well to common sense. They're just, it's this knowledge, and if you don't know this knowledge, well then, go to school, go learn something, do something, have someone else do it for you, whatever. It's not very user-friendly to people that's never been introduced to a computer. Like our elders.
That's true.
I mean, we're
There's
like in our
people that are
50s.
stuck in their ways.
Our
They're like,
elders don't
I
know
don't want
shit
to
about
fuck
this.
with it. Another theory is that a lot of people say that Bashar was one of them. That in 1967, the starseeds started to arrive on your planet.
Yeah,
they
Homo
don't.
hippies.
They don't think like everybody else on your planet, and as soon as I heard that, I'm like, what planet am I from?
So what did they do?
Because I'm definitely not from this one.
What did they do to Desert Fox? We had all these hippies that were considered hippies and drug users
that
and
was
whatever.
Carlos Castaneda.
Doing all of
a lot
these
of that shit
things
was
that
Carlos
were,
Castaneda.
you know, elevating the spirit of the world and trying to make people happy and all these things. And then all of a sudden it got stifled with, all these people are drug users, they're unreliable, there's all these things, these people, half of them died on their way home from the concert. I mean, whatever it was that they used, but they turned that, and it kept a lot of people in the dark. No, you have to go this way and knock on the door so they'll let you in the front door.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'll let you in there because I got the key.
Oh yeah, you got the key.
And then that's the other thing. That's the other things I want to talk to you about is CNC Music Factory. How the heck? Because I was just thinking about them the other day, actually, and I don't know why or what. I was like, every once in a while you think about these various bands that you grew up listening to, and but it's like, and all of a sudden it pops in your brain, you're like, whatever happened to those people? So I can't wait to hear your story about it. This is great.
He's actually embracing my company.
Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, I want to talk to you out here when you went after you go down.
Yeah.
Sorry. You should be walking by this right now. I don't see him. He went the wrong way. Oh, there it is.
So, how the heck did you meet CNC Music Factory? What? Because just the other day I was like wondering about him. For some reason it just popped. I mean, now I know what the reason is, because it was foreshadowing I'd have this conversation. But back then, I didn't have that forethought. So it just popped in my brain. For some reason I was just thinking about like just different bands that I haven't heard anything about. What are they up to? CNC Music Factory was in my brain.
A very internationally known band.
Yeah. So how the heck did you? How did you come across them?
We work for this guy named Eric, and he is their hype guy. He goes on stage with them, and he hypes up the crowd, and and he performs with them, but he's mostly the hype guy. For some reason, he loves the Fawkesses, and he was insistent on taking us with him. And he's like, hey, you guys got to meet these Fawkesses. They're going to do this. I'm going to have them do this and this and this. And okay, so we went on a show. We went from Phoenix, Arizona to North Carolina in a car. And we came back in a car and hit New Orleans, Georgia. I mean, all these different, we had this like whole scenic, it was freaking amazing. But we also turned in some really good video. And they were like, you know what, these people are really cool. We like them. Their video work was awesome. And I think we should keep them around. We don't go on all of their concerts because I guess the girl half of CNC works with another band full time and just does CNC on the side, or I believe that's how I understand it. I mean, I think that's how they said it to me, but I'm not exactly sure about all the intricate stuff. But we work with Scatterman. He's one of our peoples that helps oversee any contract or offer that people offer us, and we've had a lot of offers, and we send them all to Scatterman. It's like, check this out, make sure it's legit, because Scatterman worked with Tech Nine for a long time. He's from the Strange Music label, and he's about to drop another album. We were trying to do a release party at the end of April, but it's the time frame is too close. I don't think we'll be able to pull it off, but we're trying.
So he has a record label?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Tech Nine?
She was just talking about.
I was just talking about how he was the manager guy of Tech Nine.
Is actually coming next
Playing,
week.
yeah.
To Marquee.
They're actually coming to the Marquee Theatre.
Oh my gosh, now it's making sense because I saw that Tech Nine.
7
Okay,
days, 8
as
days.
you're saying this, I remember seeing the poster, like before the show started, I remember seeing a Tech Nine. Yeah, I was like, what the heck does that say, Tech Nine?
Tech Nine's
and it
not
was
so...
a poster up on a thing, so this is interesting. You're talking about
Tech
this, right?
Nine isn't because, look at my guns. Tech Nine's because he's that fast. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean fast to what way?
He's a lyricist. He's a brilliant lyricist.
He's a lyricist.
He's a rapper.
And so he.
So Scatterman was like their manager, producer guy of the Tech Nine Strange label. He was the guy of Strange music label.
So, and Tech Nine made him big, and then got too big for him, and.
Well, Scatterman's about to drop an album, and we were going to do an album release party either in Phoenix or in Vegas on the 21st, but we're getting so close to the time frame, we're not sure if we can pull that off.
So all these people are intertwined somehow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Eric, our friend Eric, works for Freedom Williams, who is CNC Music Factory, who was also in cahoots
the original
with...
singer.
he
The
was
original
also in
rapper
cahoots with
for
Scatterman.
CNC.
Scatterman.
And he's not in it anymore?
No, he is the only surviving member of.
But then that woman you were saying.
Eunice.
Well, Eunice is.
She's the fixture, but she's not actually. She's like got some other thing going on.
Yeah,
he's a side gig for her. She has her own thing going on, but she. Yeah, so we got to meet. They're really super cool people.
Yeah, it's growing into like you guys.
I'm really grateful and thankful that we got the opportunities that we've had up to this point. And we can thank mostly Eric for all of that, because Eric has been like our mouthpiece.
Well, it's interesting because it's because you followed your intuitions, you followed your heart, and you said yes to ideas, and before you know, you end up in this spot, which he happens to be in. I mean, I love it.
And it snowballed us. Like, we're like going, okay, now which direction do we look? What do we focus on? What would be our best avenue? And where are we going to learn the most and have the most fun doing it? And right where we're at is where we need to be.
Ultimately, we work for VHOP Nation.
VHOPNation.io.
Which is VHOP Nation is the new record label that both those albums you just talked about are coming out under. Strange
VHOP or
VHOP stands for Vibrate Higher or Perish.
Wow, that's cool.
VHOP Nation. And there's VHOPNation.io, which is what she just mentioned, that is the new social media site.
And we're trying to get an app started.
It's a cross between Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. All three of them. It has aspects of all three of them, but it's there's no fact checkers. You can be yourself.
And like we said, vibrate higher or get the fuck out of here.
Do you know how to make apps?
No, we don't.
An app is in production for VHOP.
But we do have...
It's not out yet.
They have an app in production.
I don't personally know how to.
It sounds to me like
but
maybe
it's being
time
delegated.
to interview these interesting people, or you probably did.
Oh, we're trying to. We haven't been able to be in the same space with these people yet. We're working on it, but I figure everything happens.
Well, you're good vibes, and it
everything
that kind of
happens
is just
for
natural.
a reason, and there's a lot of stuff coming up. There's a lot of shows we're working on. So I mean, I'm like the assistant of the guy that's getting the venues and the people on board, and so there's a lot of stuff we're working on. We have like multiple hands in multiple pools of poo.
When we went to Montana recently, and right before we left, Eric calls me out the blue and he says, I mean, like you, we'll be here in like
2 days.
72 or like
He's
not
like,
even
pack
2
your
days.
shit and get ready to leave.
Well, I love the fact that you two were so
like,
spontaneous.
I'll be
like,
there tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll go.
He was like, we'll be there tomorrow night. And then later, like an hour later, he calls me back and says, Eunice says she's taking us skiing. She wants to invite you guys skiing.
What?
And I'm like, all right, so here's the deal. I've never been skiing.
Okay.
So you have to be gentle.
I've been on water
but
skis.
I'm down to try anything once, and I mean it's them. I don't want to say no.
Funny story of like the fact that this
we have
happened,
a funny story, and a lot of it's on IG.
Awesome.
We never put skis on.
We didn't even make it to the freaking ski lift.
Oh.
So So we go to the
Just
mountain.
pre-party a lot with these guys, and you're like,
Dude,
let's forget about skiing. Let's
so
just
I know they woke
we
us
go
up in
up
the
there.
morning. Freedom woke him up.
When
I have to go skiing. You guys have to go skiing.
yeah, when we were on our way up there.
I might die
Eric
on
is
this
like, yeah,
mountain."
no, we're not skiing. We're not doing that. And he's like, okay, whatever. And then we get reassured. We're not going skiing. We'll go play in the snow tomorrow somewhere
we'll go
else. We'll
play
do
in
our
the
own thing.
snow.
We'll meet up later. Okay, cool. 8:30 in the morning, the phones start going off. They're calling us. Get your asses up. Get your
I'm
ass to
shutting
the ski
phones
lift.
off. They keep ringing.
We're like,
I'm
no.
What the fuck?
And they're like,
It's Freedom.
Freedom's
No,
like,
if
dude,
I'm going. You're going.
I've never put skis on. If I have to do this,
Shit.
you have to do this. Okay, fine. So we get up, right? My favorite cannabis conundrum shirt's got the green label. I go to unfold it and put it on. I stick my finger right through the front of it. Totally screw up the whole front of the... I'm like, oh, shit, that's not good. Okay, so I'll put on a different shirt. No big deal. Whatever. Then we go out to load the car, and I have this big, like, 3/4 gallon water jug that's supposed to be indestructible, and it's called Zeus. You can find them at Walmart, by the way. It got knocked off the tailgate, and it landed upside down on the mouthpiece, which broke the only piece that seals it so it don't leak.
All within like 10 minutes.
And
we
we
got
were
up and we were
already
like,
decided that we're not going skiing because I'm Grace under fire if there was ever such a thing. And turns out that's a fact. That's true. So we go up to the mountain and we're following this vehicle that appears to have Freedom and Eunice in it of CNC Music Factory. They go off to the right.
It does not look like it has them in it. It does not. It looks like some dude who runs maintenance for the fucking mountain, right?
With a topper on it. It's a
and
nice truck.
it has a topper, but it's a huge topper. It doesn't look like a rental.
It was a rental.
It was a fucking rental.
So we were
It was this
following them
massive
into the mountain.
Eunice sees our video on IG and she's like, "Holy fuck, we were the truck in front of you." and they went this way, and I'm like, I don't know if we should go that way. And Eric's like, let's follow him. And I'm like, look, there's a
left.
spot right
They went
here.
right.
There's a spot right here. I can see it. He was like, oh, I see it too. And
We started to pull into said spot and hit ice and got stuck.
Oh.
And no
That's
matter
what we
what we
learned
did, the
on this
acid
hill.
went out into the middle of the
on this
street.
hill,
It was
with a
amazing.
car in front of us and behind us, that we don't have four-wheel drive in our Ford Explorer. We have
front-wheel
drive in our
We
Ford
needed
Explorer.
rear-wheel drive because
And
we
every
were...
time we hit the gas, it went.
Oh no! Oh no! What did you do?
We got
spin an hour
pulled
and a
out.
half.
We backed
I
down the hill.
videographed the whole shit.
Oh, so someone would have had like a winch on their
Well,
car?
No, they couldn't figure it out at first
The
either.
people-
They gave it 4 attempts before we
Because
got
that's
out.
tricky. Because
they
there's
have
nothing.
maintenance
There's no
people on the
leverage.
mountain for that reason.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
And
That
so
makes sense.
they
I
were
guess.
throwing sand out, trying to get us
Oh.
traction. They were trying to pull this way because we
They
were on
tried
ice.
several
That's the only
different
reason we were
things.
stuck because there was ice.
Oh,
and every time we tried to pull
no.
closer to the snowdrift,
No.
we would spin out around into the street because
Oh,
we were on all
God.
this ice. So they put all this sand down thinking we were going to get traction. Okay, yeah, in theory, that should have worked. Then they were like, okay, that's not going to work. So then they hooked this winch up to the car and they're like, okay, let's pull it this way. Well, that wasn't working either because it kept swinging out into the street.
No way.
So they're like, okay, well, let's put it on this tire in the front, pull it sideways so you can be out away from behind, this car and then you just back
crazy?
it down the hill, which actually worked. But it took them like an hour. I had time to make this whole snow sculpture about CNC Music Factory.
Oh my
was
God,
here,
that's
and it's just
awesome.
like, so then we finally get out of it. They back down the hill to where they get traction to get back up the hill. And they pick me up and they're like, we got to go. We got to go now because we're not getting stuck again. I'm like, okay. So none of us ever put skis on, but I did spend like a whole 3 hours or so playing in the snow.
Wait, so the folks in front of you, they stopped.
They went off to the right and went down to the
Oh, and they
ski
kept
lift
going.
where they were supposed to be.
Oh, gotcha.
We lost signal because we're out in the boonies and we couldn't get in touch with anybody.
This is on the side of the road.
This is great.
Look at her fucking feet.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I was writing CNC Music Factory on this big snowdrift right outside the entrance of the place. I built this little
love it.
where we
He's
were
trying
stuck.
to figure
that
us
said
out
Sin-
right here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's Eric.
It was crazy. It was so
Yeah.
fun, but we didn't ever have to put skis on.
Oh my gosh.
We got off of that mountain without having to kill ourselves. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh. So they're trying to drag the car? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they were trying to
They were
unstick
gonna
us, but
try
they
and
ended
pull
up
us up the
pulling us
hill.
out sideways because that was the only alternative we had. Nothing else was
Eric's
working.
like, is that all we can do?
And they messed up the alignment doing it because they put it on the
They
front tire.
It's a rental car.
And they pulled the front tire
No,
out.
this is on the back tire, and eventually he tried, because we pulled around sideways, he fucking tried the front tire and did all up.
Whacked out.
No.
And then we were on our way down the mountain and hit some ice and lost control and almost knocked some old guy off the mountain. That scared the shit out of him. It was crazy. Nobody wrecked.
Great.
While
Making
we're
the
while we're getting the car
making the
out,
snow drift.
she's
This is
over here
great.
in a snowdrift.
Oh my god, I love it.
And I don't like snow,
He's
but
trying
I
to
was
find
having
people.
so much
That's
fun.
so
There's
great.
no signal on the mountain.
Oh
He's
my
like,
God.
God damn it, this phone's useless.
And was he the one who called you up early to say, "Come on, you're going with me"?
No,
Yeah,
they were
no.
already on the mountain waiting for us.
Okay,
Eric
so
was
he
in
was
that-
in that car that you were talking about. That
They
took
were
the
in
other way.
front of us, and they
Oh.
went the opposite direction because we saw a parking spot, which
Here
both
we
roads
go.
led down to where we needed to go, but this one was
Oh.
more on an incline, and it was icy right there because the sun would hit it and it melted, and then it would freeze
He's
up.
not going nowhere.
And we hit that.
He pulled us sideways a little bit.
It was
That was
amazing.
it. This fucking heck.
It was like the best shit show ever because I did not have to go skiing. And judging by poking a hole in my favorite shirt and breaking my favorite water bottle ever, like in 10 minutes,
Like those were
the
signs.
universe was saying, bitch, don't even think about it.
Yeah, it's.
And it was calling me names for reals because that was intense.
Oh my gosh.
Fawkesy has lost her marbles.
I was playing in the snow. We went all the way down the mountain
Those-
with my pants hanging out the window because there was so much snow. It was like this thick and chunks all over my pant legs.
Whoa!
I mean, I had
Oh
other
my
layers
gosh.
on, but my top layer.
Great snow angel.
My
Wow.
those are actually black pants.
Those are, Jack Skeleton pants. If you can see them anywhere.
It's great.
They were so coated with snow. I'd taken them off and hung them out the window, and it just went boom, 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 boom,
Jack
boom,
Skeleton.
boom, boom, all the way down the freaking mountain. It was so funny.
Can't even tell.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I was the only one
adventure.
playing with snow. These guys didn't play in any snow.
Like, it's how cool is this? Like, this is such a rare. Like, first of all, how often do you ever hear people like talk about stories with CNC Music Factory? But then the stories that they're telling have to do with getting stuck in snow drifts and on the way to skiing with CNC Music
Right?
Factory. I mean,
It's-
what a bizarre
So
all
we never
the-
actually skied.
What an interesting thing.
It was amazing.
And now you have this awesome story to be able to tell
Yeah,
people.
we had a lot of fun. Even
Wow.
though we didn't go skiing, we had a lot of fun. Oh, it's a moth.
Sounds like a June
That's a
bug.
big moth. Look at his reflection.
Oh,
He's got
yeah.
some big wings. That's a big
Wow.
moth. I saw him flying over here. He's huge.
Wow.
We went to the Butterfly Wonderland, like in Scottsdale. They have
Oh,
like this
I never
Odyssey
heard
of
of
the
this.
Desert. They have the Odyssey of the
10,000 square
Desert.
foot fucking
You can see,
rainforest.
what are they called? Those freaking stingrays. We fed baby stingrays. We went to this
Whoa.
place called Butterfly Wonderland, and
On Christmas Day.
And
Whoa.
when you go in, you got to watch this 3D video about the migration of the monarchs. But then after that, you go into the chrysalis area where they have all these moths and all these butterflies in their chrysalis forms. They're about to
The
turn
cocoons. And you see some of the cocoons shaking and shit.
So there was this one that had just popped open like the day before we got there. And this moth literally was bigger than your face.
Whoa.
And he had clear windows in his wings that you could see through his wings.
Incredible.
The sad thing is, it's not a moth that has a mouth. So once they become a moth,
Most
moths are not. They don't have a
have
mouth.
about 10 days to
No.
live.
So they
No,
live off
no.
of what they ingest before they
No
transform.
way.
They have like a 4 or 5 day life expectancy before they.
Why would the universe create something like that? It doesn't have a chance to
It's
eat.
mean. It's
Like, it has no way to
fucking
eat.
mean
It has
as
no
shit.
way of, like, it dies of starvation.
Yeah.
Well, it feeds off of what the nutrients that it stores in its body before it crystallizes and comes into a moth. There are moths that are born with mouths, and they're
Some
the
of
ones that
them.
eat your clothes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Silk moths.
But
Oh, boy.
most of them are born without a mouth, and this one was, I swear to God, like bigger than my face. It was
Whoa.
huge. And it was so beautiful, and it was like a rainforest moth or something. I don't know. It was huge.
My goodness.
But it had like these clear spots in all 4 of its wings to where you could physically see through them. They were like little windows.
Thank you. That's
And it was the most
I've
amazing
never
thing,
heard
but
of a
it was
moth that
like
you can see through the...
I don't even know I don't remember what it's called, but it was like literally like as big as both of my hands. His wings were as big as
That's
both of my
incredible.
hands. It was huge.
I never heard of something like that.
I didn't either. And then I went to Butterfly Wonderland and I got tears in my eyes because it was just so amazing and
bet.
so awesome. I was just like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
As soon as I opened up my eyes and I walked in, I was like, oh shit, baby, I'm going to cry.
Wow.
And I kind of did. I kind of did.
Yes. That's awesome.
Well, she's the woman who will pause the show on Netflix
I am such
and
a
go get
butt.
something to drink and come back 15 minutes later with nothing to drink.
With nothing to drink.
I'll
What are
sit
you-
down
what are
and
you
okay,
doing?
Start the movie. Oh shit,
Oh,
I
you're
forgot a
fucking-
drink. Gotta go.
Oh my
you were
god.
fucking chasing butterflies, weren't you?
You were chasing butterflies, weren't you?
So he took me to Butterfly Wonderland for Christmas because
One
I
year?
said I don't want presents, I want an adventure, and that's where he took me.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it. That's perfect. I want an adventure. That's cool. That must have been great.
I want memories, not presents, because memories last way longer than something you have to dust off, get tired of, and toss to the fucking Goodwill, you know? And I'm lazy. I do a lot of stuff, but the last thing I want to do is sit around my house and dust off trinkets. I want to go outside and experience life. I want to be a part of nature. I want to, that's my thing. I am a nature freak. I just love being outside.
In the little video at the beginning, she said it was a video we had to watch before we could go in about the migration of the monarchs.
It was in 3D.
It was in 3D.
Oh, wow.
And so these people, grown ass adults,
butterflies
are
were
like,
flowing at you.
Oh, that's awesome.
it was,
It was
so
like they were
good.
all flying at you when they started scattering to go on their journey. It was like they were coming
Grown
toward
ass
you.
people
It was
started
so
going,
cool.
No! Oh my god, that's
It
crazy.
was so cool. It was one of the most amazing experiences I think I've ever had. It was so
It's
awesome.
awesome
was like
because it's like a
5
theme
people
park
that were
mixed
like,
with a
"No."
zoo, but like you get to see this.
But it's just like this really little tiny space
it's
with
called-
like netting over the tops so the butterflies don't get out and meet their demise in the desert. It's all
It's
tropically oriented with the misters
Oh, no,
and stuff, so they
wow.
don't get
It's-
too hot
it's
and dry.
tropical environment. They have to. It has to be
There's
humid in there. It's
plants.
humid as fuck in there.
There's
It's like
over-
a warehouse.
How many? There was like over 100 different butterflies, or 150. There was a lot
There
of
was
different
100 yeah,
species
there was
of
a lot
butterflies in
different
there.
species.
Whoa.
And there was a 12,000 square foot room
So beautiful.
that
Oh my god.
And they just made it look
with,
like
with
it was
tropical trees
They're like,
and
don't
misters.
let them land
and-
on you and don't try to touch them. If they land on you,
Humidifiers.
kind of shoo them away because of the oils, the perfumes, whatever you have
Oh.
on your skin that's not normal.
And they
could
will.
make
They'll-
them sick.
Big ass butterflies.
And they'll
will
land on you. And
And you're like,
I went like
oh,
this a few times
shit.
trying to get one off my hand and it wouldn't go anywhere. I'm like,
he's
what
like,
do I
no,
do? It
dude.
won't leave. And I don't want it to get sick. What do I do? And I'm just like sat there and going, oh, you know what? This is cool. Hi, baby.
Yeah, because how often do you get a chance to see it up close like that? And like,
Well, and it's a confined space. You got a few people in there, and they're fluttering around. What else are they going to do? You have to watch where you're walking because they land on the sidewalk, or so you have to be
I
very
bet.
careful when you walk through there. But you know what? It's such an amazing experience. I recommend it to anybody.
That's
if you have
cool.
a chance to go to a butterfly wonderland, you should do it.
It's called
uplifting.
Odyssey.
the butterfly
Because
wonderland.
Odyssey is
Odyssey in the
is
desert.
it's Odyssey because it's in the desert. It's an aquarium, an aquarium in the desert, but the aquarium was actually closed that day. But
They had
Butterfly
one
Wonderland
gift store out of
was
4
open.
and they had Butterfly Wonderland, and then this one thing where you had to you know how you watch the spy movies, so you gotta dip into these lasers.
Oh,
and all
yeah,
that
yeah.
shit? So you could pay a little extra and have that experience, which we
like
totally
$5
did. It was
more.
so fun. It was so fun. But everything else was closed. Like, to go see the sharks and the stingrays and all these different things, it was all closed. They had shows that they'd perform. They were all closed. There was all these beautiful, magnificent gift shops that were closed. The one gift shop we were available to go into showed us fishes when we went to see the butterflies. Why do I want to buy a fish magnet when I didn't even get to see the fish? But we did get to feed
How long
baby
did you get-
stingrays. They were like really cute, and so
wow.
they let us go in and we got to feed like these little baby stingrays, which was really super
How long
cool.
did you hang out inside the butterfly exhibit?
A couple hours.
It sounds to me like it's huge in there.
It's not really that big, but there's
I
just
mean-
so many different butterflies to see, and it's just so beautiful just to watch and all the colors fly around, and then they're sitting. You got to sometimes poke them out, point them out in different hiding spots, and
When you first
It's
get
just
in there,
amazing.
it's huge. When you first walk through the door, you're like, "Oh my goodness!"
but it's
And
really
then
not.
within a half an hour, you're like,
That's
oh.
it. It seems like it goes on forever, but it's,
"Haven't we been here already?"
it's a
Haven't we
great
been here already?
experience, though.
But I mean, it's just the fact of where we were, and let's just hang out on a
Well,
park
it's
bench
interesting
for
to
a
think
minute.
that they were able to make this environment the way that they
Right?
did, and like actually dream up that specific premise. Like, oh, let's have a butterfly land. Let's have an Odyssey. Like, what a neat thing, for someone just to go.
well,
yeah,
there was a
let's
lot
do
of
that.
kickback
It's like
when
going lizard land or whatever, It's
When
just
they
like all
first
lizards
thought of it,
everywhere or something.
there was a lot of
people.
kickback because they were
I
bringing
just noticed you got a
deserts.
butterfly tattoo on you. Oh, that's great.
They're bringing dolphins and sea life into a desert where they don't belong. So there was a
Yeah,
lot of
that
kickback
makes
about the
sense.
whole sea life being here in this little tiny aquarium in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough that Disneyland has them, and they got an ocean right outside their wall. It's just the environment and the way those oceanic creatures are treated in captivity that's like the main concern. Have you ever seen Blackfish?
No. Mm-mm. Is
That fucking movie will
is that
scar
a
you.
documentary? Ooh.
How they caught Shamu?
No, I didn't know about that.
Oh God, that fucking movie will scar you.
Oh no.
I cried watching
Oh,
that, and
no.
it's sad. It's sad as hell. I mean, we all know it doesn't take rocket scientists to know that animals have feelings.
Yeah.
Animals love their young. I mean, they're just like a human. Well, when you take their young, they respond just like a human. Other than they can't punch you or shoot you in the face like they
Yeah.
want to, they cry, they make sounds, they do things, they act out. Well, a lot of these animals in captivity that are trained to do all these different things eventually get so sad and depressed because all of their loved ones are taken away from them. They're stuck in captivity
God, that's
that
so
they act out.
sad.
And yeah, and some of them get put down because something happened in the water because somebody was being disrespectful to the fish, and you've already been mistreating it for 20 years. Why make it better, And it's freaking horrible. And San Diego and whatever, them places that have the shamus and all, with SeaWorld and all them places, they got a lot of negative backlash. They lost a lot of business because
Oh,
people.
because of the documentary.
Well, because it showed you how they caught Shamu in the first place. They literally took a baby from its mom, and you could hear its mom crying over the cameras as they're taking this baby. And she's just like, "Give me back my baby." And they're like, "Nah." And the baby's like, "Mom." And I mean, it's fucking pathetic. It's sad and it's hurtful. And so I think when you take that into consideration with the Sea Odyssey in the desert with all these animals that should be in the sea, now in the desert in this less than awesome aquarium,
Yeah.
they don't have the room that they need to exercise. They don't have the camaraderie of their pack. They don't. I mean, it's sickening, and they got a lot of backlash for it. The Butterfly Wonderland, I think that's a lot different because of the fact they're not taking nothing away from nobody,
They're
or
born there. Yeah.
it's not like going out into the wild and stealing a baby from its mother and saying, whatever, it sucks to be you.
They buy the cocoons from all over the planet.
Yeah, they have them.
Whoa.
They buy these cocoons and bring them in and breed them and raise them but the fishes is totally different, and it's sad
because the cocoons don't know anything
They
different.
don't know anything different.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there
who
was like
knows?
this
Maybe
whole
they do, but-
there was
Oh,
like
maybe they
this
do.
whole negative, and I agree with what everyone was saying, and we didn't get to see all that part of it except the baby stingrays, which was in a pond about as big as the section of the patio we're sitting. Not very big to have a bunch of stingrays in,
True.
and it was only like 3 feet deep, 4 feet deep.
And
I
they
mean, a
gave us
person
these-
could literally walk through there with hip waders and probably not get their crotch wet.
They gave us like snail shells with crab meat stuffed in them to feed the stingrays.
I mean, it was a cool experience, but knowing what we know to get to that point it's devastating, and it makes you feel bad. I can't go to a zoo without wanting to let everything loose.
Mm-hmm.
It breaks my heart to see them in confinement. I went to all 3 zoos that Arizona has to offer, and every single one of them was like, "Can I let them out? Can I open the cage? Can I let them out? I need to let them out. They can't be here. I can't be here. I need to go." Because I really wanted to turn open all those cages and just let everything run free. Whatever survives, survives. Whatever don't, well, you shouldn't have had them here in the first place. It's sad. I don't like it.
Yeah, when Tiger King came on,
I've
my
never
sister and I
seen
were
it.
watching it, and then as soon as it started showing, like, there's this part where they're like taking the cubs away from the mom, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna watch this anymore. Like,
It's sad.
I'm just not gonna watch the cruelty that's going on with these poor, like, starving creatures.
Well, and
that are in
it hurts
captivity.
their heart. It breaks their heart. And then what? You don't expect them to rebel. You just took the love of their life. What do you think they're gonna do? I mean, that's their kid. People are stupid. People are stupid. I used to love people, but now I just think they're better left alone. I'm just saying. Most of them.
So what's next on the list for CNC Music Factory, or other things that you guys have? I mean, what other things do you guys have in the works?
We're working on podcasts.
So I know you were
We
alluding
have-
to the idea that you're spinning a lot of plates.
So on July 29th and July 30th, we're going to have a show in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Oh. What's it called?
It's called Sunfest and the Desert Sunfest. We're working on the roster right now. Freedom's going to be hosting both days. The first day is going to be more hip-hop oriented. The second day is going to be more dance music oriented, which is where CNC will fit in. We're trying to right now get Little John and I can't think of who else.
The Yin Yang Twins.
Oh yeah, the Yin Yang Twins and someone else. There was a few people we were trying to get for the first day, but we're gonna have the venue from like noon until 11 p.m. So we have a lot of time to fill. And I haven't heard any recent updates about the roster, but I know CNC's going to be there. Freedom Williams is going to be there, and
Like a music festival that you two
yeah.
are
Yeah.
organizing?
we're helping organize.
Oh, cool.
We're not the brains behind it. We're just help facilitating.
And so then how are they finding, like, sponsors and stuff for or paying for the...
That I really don't know how they do what they're doing. I don't know that part of it yet because I'm like new.
What are your aspects?
We're media.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
So you're
and
gonna
I'm
record
a project manager, so I have to manage projects. So if there's something that needs to be done, I'd say, hey, you need to get this done by Monday. That's really all my job is. I don't know what the hell they're working on, but it needs to be done
Sometimes
by
we gotta
now.
investigate a venue. Hey, like Eric has a book of venues across the country. So that way it's like a fast track to get a tour set up.
Oh yeah,
And
books and
anything he's not familiar with, like if it's close enough. he'll
he's
be
trying
like,
to
"Hey,
get radio
figure this out."
stations to sponsor too. He's got to get in touch with different radio stations throughout the cities that we're trying to plan shows so they can put out, the advertising and. I don't know all the ins and outs of that stuff yet. I'm working on it, but he's like in control of all that shit right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about it. It'll be fun.
But the tours are supposed to intertwine this summer.
That's cool.
Fingers
so we
crossed.
Have Dance Across America.
That's great.
Freedom and CNC has Dance Across America, right? That's what it's called that they're working on.
Yeah.
And then Eunice and her band, I'm not sure what that tour is called, but we're working on a different one, the Desert Sun Fest, which seems to be a handful.
3 of them. We're working on 3 tours.
Well, there's that. I just go where I'm needed or where they tell me to. Okay, I'll drive. Get out of the way. Where am I going? What's my turn off? Just tell me where I need to turn and I'm good. You need to turn on Interstate 60. Okay, which direction? North. Okay, got you.
So are there places online that like any of the stuff that you've shot with any of these folks so far? Do you have a YouTube channel where this stuff can be seen or any of this
They might have their own independent. I haven't set one up yet. I'm supposed to because people are waiting, but
the first concert that we did, I believe, is on Desert Fox on IG.
What the one in North Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay, so North Carolina was a fun gig. We had Rob Baines. We had
North Carolina was crazy.
All for One and CNC Music Factory and who was the other one? I'm forgetting one.
Coolio.
He wasn't in North Carolina.
Yeah, he was. Coolio got us drunk on moonshine in North Carolina.
That's amazing.
Coolio was in North Carolina.
Okay, yeah, maybe that. Yeah, that was in Newberry. He's right. Coolio was in North Carolina. And then the next one we did, we had Yächtley Crëw.
What the heck?
CNC Music Factory.
That's crazy.
Who else was there when we had Yächtley Crëw?
Tone Loc.
Those guys are still doing stuff.
Tone
Loc.
Tag team.
This is crazy, you guys.
It was great. It was great. People that haven't been heard
Tag
of
team
in
handed me a
years.
business card and said, "You want to record my show and send it to me? I'll probably be able to pay for it."
Dude, that's incredible.
And I have video. I
That's
have footage.
incredible.
I have footage of their videos. Yächtley Crëw. I mean, they're Yächtley Crëw.
How many guys are in that band?
2.
That makes sense. Yächtley Crëw. There's the guy that was on
Here's
the
the
album
funny thing about Yächtley Crëw. One of the originals died. The other
Was
one
that the guy with
walked
the
away.
broken arm? There's the guy who always had like a broken arm.
I don't know. It might have been.
covers.
But one of them
was
passed
broken
away, and then the other one just walked away. And their hype groups, the 2 guys that were on their team, their hype crew, took over the band. And now are going on tour. Yächtley Crëw got their little hoochie butt shaker money maker ladies.
Is Luke? Are any of the original guys a part of it or no?
No.
None of them. The other dudes took over. So
they're kind of original, but they're not the guys. They're the backup singers, the hype guys that are like.
And then one of the other guys just like totally walked away, isn't a part of it at all, and he doesn't care that these other guys just took it over.
Nope, don't give a shit at all.
Interesting.
Don't give a shit at all. And their hype guys took over the band, and now they're touring.
Interesting to hear about this type of stuff.
It's really, I know, right? But it's really super
You
cool
never know what's going on behind the
because
scenes.
most people would get in a lot of trouble for that, and they're like, I don't
It
even
sounds
care.
pretty risky, just going, we're taking over the band.
But there must have been something that took place behind
Some
the
kind of
scenes to
agreement.
make it okay.
Yeah.
Because you're still getting our name out there. We're still, they're getting part of the royalties.
Right, because
It's their music, their copyrights, it's their stuff, but I didn't know it wasn't the same people because they were banned in the United States because of their
band in the USA.
rock that pussy, whatever. That was the song they opened up with. Rock that pussy.
Pop that pussy. Hey, pop that pussy.
Oh, pop that
baby.
pussy, whatever it is. See, I don't
It's
even.
so crazy to think that that was a band that was just so unapologetically so.
We don't care. It's all about
so
sex.
deep, into it, and it was just like those were like cassette tapes that we were here like listening to like when my mom wasn't home. We're like, You know, that was
Right.
like the secret thing. They're like, you know, like Jerky Boys. That goes hand in hand with the Jerky
Right.
Boys cassette tape. And you're like, who is the original owner of this? Because it was always copied and handed around, right? The Jerky's Boys tapes were always like handed around with some friend of yours playing it. You're going, what the hell is this? You know, and you're like, this is crazy. But like, there was never like any frame of reference as to where it came from or who or any of that. It just sounded like something like maybe some funny guys did at home. They're like, it's the Jerky Boys.
We recorded this in our basement on our CD player, our cassette player, blah, blah, blah.
So it's like the Jerky Boys, Two Live Crew, Ghetto Boys, NWA. Like, my brother was listening to some of this stuff, and I'm going, what the heck? This is crazy. This is crazy that we're listening to this music right now. And we don't know half of, like, what they're really even talking about, you know? But it seemed naughty.
The first time I
There's a lot of really
You know,
naughty.
it's like,
Two
wow,
Live Crew
huh?
is a lot of really naughty.
The first time I ever heard Eminem, I had borrowed a friend's car to run an errand. One of my boss's cars.
He's a criminal.
I was at work, and I needed to go get this. I'm like, oh, fuck, my wife has the car.
Because he's a criminal.
And I got in his car, and it was, I don't know if you're familiar with Eminem, but
You know who Eminem is.
Yeah, I know who Eminem
on the
is.
Slim Shady LP, there's a song called My Fault. I never meant to give you mushrooms, girl. I never meant to bring you to my world. And now you're sitting in the corner crying, and it's my fault. I had to pull over on the side of the road. I was crying. I was laughing so hard listening to this
Oh
song.
my gosh.
I was like, oh, and songs just, I mean, are really good or they're not so good, but I was
When it's said in a particular
crying.
way where you're going, I can't
I
believe
was
that,
like,
that was just
my
said.
God.
Especially
I
if you
just
can
have to
relate
stop
to it.
and listen to this song. And he never got the CD back.
He never got the CD back.
Sorry, Jamal.
I didn't take his car, but he was not getting the CD.
Right, I brought back the Camaro.
Yeah.
You could have done worse. You could have kept the Camaro and given him the CD.
Dude, you guys, so this one is like almost up in like 10 minutes, but I should honestly probably get to sleep. It's 3 a.m. and I gotta wake up early. But I'm so happy we got a chance to hang out as long as we did.
Guys, get photos. I only have one.
That sounded like lightning or something, but fake lightning.
It's a motorcycle.
Motorcycles.
Oh,
The motor scooter.
This is Robert from Twin Peaks, and you're listening to Inspirado, Projecto. Got a light?
It's a face palm, a bomb of calm, like a napalm bomb. It's a face palm, crumbly malm of loamy alms. And how soon do you think you do it again? It's a face palm, here it come alms, playing Brahms on prom. And how soon do you think you do it again? And the horns from Guam to the cable coms are the rom diatoms glom in their moms. It's a face palm, the book of psalms and rhymes and rums. And how soon do you think you'll do it again?